Ever felt like someone looked into your eyes and saw your soul? Let that feeling resonate for a moment. Breathe. Close your eyes if you want. Remember a time, maybe long ago, maybe recently, when someone's gaze met yours and seemed to pierce through all your defenses, touching places you didn't even know existed. Who was that person? What did you feel? Fear, curiosity, instant connection, or a shiver you can't explain? We've all had that moment, an instant when words become unnecessary, when just a look is enough. In ancient cultures, it was believed that the eyes are the windows to the soul. But what if I told you there's something more? That this moment of deep connection is actually a clue to an ancient secret, a fragment of purpose revealed by the simple fact that you have the eye color you do. Before I go on and tell you the details of this secret, let me ask you a quick but important favor. If you're looking for self-knowledge, if you feel there's something greater calling you, go ahead and leave your like, subscribe, and hit the bell. And take the opportunity to comment below what color your eyes are and if you believe in the power of a gaze. Because what we're about to explore together goes far beyond genetics and might just help you find answers you've been looking for a long time. Now, let's go straight to the question everyone dreads answering. Does my eye color carry a hidden meaning about who I am, what I came here to do, and why certain experiences keep coming back to me as patterns? Reflect. Have you ever noticed how certain people, just by exchanging a glance, seem familiar? As if we share an ancient, invisible pact, yet full of meaning? This isn't coincidence or superstition. Throughout this video, you'll discover why a gaze is so fascinating, and why, perhaps, you'll never look at yourself in the mirror the same way again. Just imagine, for centuries, while scientists and researchers debated genetic inheritance, people from diverse cultures held another kind of knowledge, secret, closely guarded, passed down only among masters, shamans, priests, and mages. The gaze, they said, isn't just a beam of light reflecting its color. It's not just a trait inherited from parents or grandparents. It is, above all, an archetypal seal, the mark of a mission, a gift, a challenge, a story that goes far beyond your own, and few know about this. What psychology doesn't want you to know about eye colors? That perhaps behind this biological detail, there's a hidden life script, an energetic signature. Think with me. How many times have you read about brown eyes are common, blue eyes are rare, green eyes are mysterious, but never asked yourself why we're attracted to, repelled by, or unsettled by certain gazes? Get ready. There's a persistent myth among analytical psychologists like Carl Jung, transpersonal therapists, and scholars of Hermetic traditions that the gaze is the mirror not only of the individual soul, but also of the collective soul. A password, an entry code, an invitation to delve into invisible patterns that guide our tastes, passions, enmities, dreams, and even tragedies. Ever felt afraid of being read by a gaze? Ever suspected that at certain moments you seem to see too much in others? You're not alone. There's something they've never told you because it can cause discomfort. Knowing about your gaze's mission transforms you. Ignoring it keeps you on the surface. You'll leave here with the feeling that there's a hidden secret behind your eye color, and that deciphering it can be the first step to understanding why you repeat certain stories, attract certain relationships, and feel a lack of something greater. Are you really ready to discover what your eyes say about who you are and where your soul wants to take you? Because after hearing what you're about to hear, there might be no turning back. Let's open the curtains of history. In ancient Egypt, priests dedicated years of study to interpreting the color and sparkle of pharaohs' and princes' eyes, believing that through them it was possible to unravel a person's destiny, and, consequently, the future of the people themselves. The Celts saw clear eyes as a portal to other worlds, while in African traditions, dark eyes signified a direct connection to the roots of the earth and ancestral spirits. Jumping to modern science, we have names like Carl Jung, the great explorer of archetypes, and the collective unconscious. Jung said that we carry internal symbols, primordial images that manifest in our dreams as well as our choices, and why not, in what we most call our own, the gaze. For Jung, the eye and its color could be interpreted as an archetypal gateway, a physical clue to the invisible mission each soul carries at birth. Contemporary psychology even seeks to explain preferences and prejudices based on eye colors. Studies show that, unconsciously, we associate light eyes with sensitivity and introspection, while dark eyes evoke strength, stability, and emotional intensity. But hardly anyone goes beyond the surface. Rare are those who dare to state, the gaze not only reveals, but attracts specific experiences, shapes destinies, and activates gifts that often await recognition. And here lies the beauty of the mystery. Why, despite all scientific evolution, do we persist in the feeling that some gazes carry something otherworldly? How to explain ancient cults like that of Isis, where eye color was seen as divine lineage, or reports from modern mediums who swear they see colored auras through people's eyes? The answer may lie precisely in this meeting point between the factual and the mythical. Where science hesitates, spirituality advances. Where biology defines, the archetypal transcends. Do you feel this as you listen? Remember how many times you felt judged, loved, or deeply attracted just by someone's gaze. How many times, even without explanation, did you know that person would be part of your path, or, who knows, change your life forever? The invitation is this: walk with me through a hybrid territory. Let's cross together centuries of accumulated wisdom and the advances of neuroscience to understand that the mystery of the gaze is the perfect link between the magical and the logical. And perhaps, just perhaps, there lies the answer to the search for meaning that pulses within each of us. The time has come to reveal the central premise of this video. And get ready, it can be unsettling, liberating, even uncomfortable, but once seen, it's impossible to unsee. Your eye color reveals your archetypal mission in this life. Think about it. We're not talking about destiny as something fixed, inescapable. It's not about generic horoscopes or rigid predictions. We're talking about a secret map, as if each eye color were a frequency band, a radio channel that tunes you into unique experiences, challenges, and powers. Brown eyes, blue, green, hazel. Each of these universes, each of these palettes, becomes a portal to a set of gifts and obstacles. And yes, to a greater task, a mission that only you can fulfill, because only you see the world from your perspective. Pause now and investigate. Have you ever noticed how blue-eyed people often carry a dreamy air, a certain melancholy or introspection? Have you noticed how brown-eyed people tend to convey solidity, trustworthiness, even a maternal or protective energy? And green eyes, in turn, have you noticed how they seem to combine mystery and creativity, as if each glance is an invitation to adventure? And hazel eyes, always so chameleon-like, oscillating between different shades, as if they're able to read environments and adapt to any context. These are just superficial traits, clues to what's beneath. The true mission is hidden in deeper layers. It's about what only you can feel, dream, accomplish, and especially about the challenges life insists on bringing back to you, as if saying, you still need to integrate this lesson. Stop and think. How many relationships, friendships, jobs, projects have you experienced just because you saw something in the other person that no one else saw? Do you attract certain types of people or avoid certain situations just because of the energy of your gaze? More than genetics, eye color seems to function as an internal GPS, tuning you into specific experiences, side missions, and even collective archetypes. Now imagine there's a team of gazes similar to yours scattered around the world. People who, even without knowing it, share the same vibration, the same gifts and lessons. How would your life change if you recognized this pattern? And what if you knew that your biggest challenge is also your greatest gift, and that it all begins with the simple act of looking at yourself in the mirror with courage, curiosity, and surrender? What does your gaze tell you about your mission in the world? Have you ever stopped to wonder if you repeat family patterns, feel inexplicable fears, or have recurring dreams, all because there's an invisible script deep in your eyes? The invitation here is to dare. Allow yourself to believe, even for a few minutes, that the color of your eyes is the key to your greatest purpose, and that, by recognizing this, your journey of self-knowledge can take an unimaginable leap. And don't worry, in the next sections we'll dive deep, profile by profile, to give you practical examples, real stories, and profound reflections on each archetypal mission. But first, I want to know, did you already suspect that your eye color could hold such a great mystery? Share your impression in the comments. And of course, if you find this content transformative, share it with someone special, because secrets like these were meant to be revealed and lived. Now I invite you for an even deeper dive. It's time to unravel the archetypes behind eye colors, as if each shade were a secret door to an entire world of meanings. Imagine, for a moment, that your whole life is a book, and your eye color is the cover. It anticipates, reveals, and influences which stories you attract, which chapters repeat, which lessons reappear again and again until they are learned. Let's start with brown eyes. It's no coincidence that this is the most common color in the world. But is it really so generic? If you have brown eyes, have you noticed how your presence is usually perceived as firmness, security, warmth? In the tradition of indigenous peoples, brown eyes are considered earth eyes, representatives of the base, the earth, the roots. The archetypal mission of these eyes is anchoring, to offer stability, teach about belonging, care for others and the planet. These are people who support families, communities, projects. They may seem reserved, but just one conversation can reveal a universe of practical wisdom, a generous heart, and almost indestructible strength. Now close your eyes for a second and imagine blue eyes, icy at first glance, but deeply touching when revealed. In Norse myths, blue eyes were seen as a blessing from the gods of the sky, water, and infinity. The mission of blue eyes is the bridge, to connect what is above with what is below, unite opposites, question certainties, seek beyond appearances. Blue-eyed people are often visionary, restless, endowed with acute sensitivity and a thirst for transcendence. They may feel like strangers in their own home, their gaze always fixed on the horizon, where the soul desires to fly even higher. And green eyes? Ah, green eyes. A rare mix of strength and mystery. In Celtic tales, green eyes were a sign of mediumship, intuition, boundless creativity. Their archetypal mission is alchemy, to transform pain into learning, unite reason and emotion, bring innovation where others only see routine. Green-eyed people carry the mark of magic, of the improbable, of what defies patterns. They are intense, passionate, often misunderstood. But when they find themselves, they become catalysts for change for themselves and everyone around them. And if your eyes are hazel, believe it, you bring the energy of camouflage, adaptability, transit between worlds. Hazel eyes absorb nuances from the environment, change with the light, and their mission is precisely that, to be a bridge between tribes and situations, learn quickly, teach flexibility, show that true strength lies in the ability to adjust without ever losing your essence. Can you see yourself in this mosaic? Do you feel there's something true resonating inside you? Don't worry, we'll delve even deeper, exploring practical examples of how each gaze manifests in everyday life. Now imagine your daily life. What do you do without realizing it, but which might have everything to do with the mission of your gaze? Let's uncover some typical scenes of each archetypal profile that might be present in your own story, or in that special person you know. If you have brown eyes, how many times have you been called upon to hold things together? Coworkers seek your advice. Friends know they can count on you in a pinch. Maybe at school, you were the one who defended the weaker kid, or mediated conflicts at home. When everyone loses their head, you're the balancing point. Have you noticed these situations repeat themselves? That's no coincidence. It's the archetypal call manifesting. Your presence calms, organizes, gives direction, and more. You feel satisfaction when you see others strong, when you realize you've helped someone find themselves again. Now, blue eyes, that feeling of never fully belonging, even when surrounded by people? You seek answers that few allow themselves to seek. You're driven by questions like, why am I here? What's the meaning of all this? Perhaps you felt different, a little off-key since childhood. You might have an artistic streak, an unusual interest in philosophy, science, spirituality. At work, you're the one who brings new ideas, challenges processes, questions the status quo. In relationships, you seek deep connection, true intensity. Superficiality simply doesn't fit your soul. And that melancholy that every now and then hits out of nowhere, it's just a reminder. Your sensitivity is your antenna for something greater. Green eyes, have you ever been accused of overcomplicating things? Or of seeing beauty where others only see routine? Your routine is always filled with novelty. If there's a problem, you find a creative, unconventional solution. In love, you're passionate, intense, but only surrender when you feel real trust. You have a knack for noticing lies, picking up on emotions, detecting small changes in people and environments. You probably change styles, professions, hobbies easily, but there's always an invisible line connecting everything, the search for authenticity and transformation. You inspire others to change just by your presence. And if you have hazel eyes, how many times have you taken on different roles in a short time? One moment you're solving a technical problem, the next leading a sensitive conversation, soon after, having fun in a group totally opposite to the previous one. You move through opposing environments without losing your center, learn quickly, and are a go-to person when someone needs a new perspective. You love new challenges, are curious and engaged in multiple subjects. Deep down, you feel you have the gift of uniting differences, transforming conflicts into opportunities, presenting unprecedented solutions from what you've learned in totally different situations. So, were you able to see yourself in any of these behaviors? Which of these experiences most marked your journey? Now tell me, do you think your choices in profession, friendship, love have something to do with expressing your I's archetype? Share a story of yours below, where you clearly noticed your archetypal mission was present, even without you knowing. You might not know it, but interpreting the gaze is an ancient practice that spans civilizations, religions, and peoples. The ancient Egyptians, for example, used amulets called ujat, the Eye of Horus, for protection and clairvoyance, believing that certain eyes were blessed with the gift of deciphering invisible truth. In shamanism, shamans chose apprentices by observing the intensity of their gaze. They said that those with light eyes carried the gift of spiritual vision, while dark eyes held the secret of healing through word and touch. In classical Greece, Plato already spoke of the inner light of the eyes, arguing that they reveal the divine spark of humanity. Among the Celts, there was the myth of emerald eyes. Children born with green eyes were cared for by druids, as it was believed they could speak with the elements, wind, water, fire, and earth. In Asian tradition, hazel eyes were a prized rarity. Martial arts masters saw in them the perfect balance between yin and yang, the ability to adapt without losing essence. And modern science? Is all this just a legend? Not exactly. Several contemporary studies seek to understand why the gaze carries so much emotional and persuasive impact. Neuroscience has already proven that, when looking into someone's eyes, we activate deep areas of our brain linked to empathy, memory, and social perception. A study by the University of Freiburg, for example, showed that we tend to trust people with dark eyes more, as we associate this characteristic with honesty and emotional stability. Meanwhile, light eyes frequently evoke an aura of sensitivity, creativity, and mystery, inspiring both attraction and a subtle distance. Another interesting fact, evolutionary psychologists suggest that the gaze evolved to be an honest signal, that is, impossible to fake for long. Therefore, different gazes have distinct functions in survival. Brown eyes protect, blue eyes investigate, green eyes intuit, hazel eyes unite. And this isn't just theory. Think of how many movies, songs, poems talk about the power of the gaze. Nothing crosses so much time and cultures without holding an essential truth. Do you see how tradition and science, seemingly opposite, end up meeting at the same point? In 2023, an article in the Journal of Behavioral Psychology pointed out that people who strongly identify with the symbolic characteristics of their eye colors show greater self-esteem, resilience, and clarity of purpose. In other words, the simple awareness of your archetype can transform not only how you see yourself, but also how you act in the world. So, how about taking advantage of this ancient and new knowledge to deepen your journey of self-discovery even further? The secret, after all, was never truly hidden. It has always looked at you from within the mirror. Now, prepare for a courageous dive. It's time to look at the shadow, the hidden side, the difficulties, the traps that each archetype carries with it. Because every deep mission brings an equivalent challenge. Every light casts its shadow. And recognizing this is the first step towards true transformation. Let's start with brown eyes, so linked to strength and stability. If on one hand, those with brown eyes are masters at holding the world together, on the other hand, they can end up taking on too much weight, forgetting to take care of themselves. The trap here is self-sacrifice for others, saying yes when your heart screams no, carrying responsibilities that aren't yours, getting lost in obligation and forgetting about pleasure. Have you ever felt guilty for thinking of yourself first? Have you ever found yourself exhausted but unable to ask for help? Brown eyes, remember, generosity is beautiful, but it's only true when it starts with yourself. Now, blue eyes. You carry the gift of transcendent vision, but along with it comes the tendency to scatter, to escape, to the feeling of non-belonging. The challenge of the blue gaze is not to get lost in the clouds, not to flee from real pain, not to isolate yourself in dreams or solitude. How many times have you felt strange, out of place, as if no one could truly understand you? Have you found yourself jumping from project to project, unable to turn dreams into reality? Blue eyes, remember, inspiration is wonderful, but your mission only happens when you anchor yourself to the earth, creating roots without losing your wings. And green eyes? The inner alchemy brings the gift of transformation, but also the risk of living in turbulence. Green-eyed people sometimes get lost trying to be everything at once, feeling everything intensely, oscillating between ecstasy and exhaustion. Have you ever felt that impulse to suddenly change your life? Felt envy or jealousy that consumed you? Or that anxiety of not being understood, of always seeking something new, but never feeling enough peace to enjoy the present? The shadow of green eyes is chronic restlessness, the fear of banality, the compulsion to feel too much. Remember, transformation is power, but it's also necessary to learn to rest and trust the flow of life. Now, hazel eyes, so full of nuances, so adaptable, and precisely because of that, sometimes so boundless. The challenge here is the tendency to over-adapt, giving too much, absorbing others' problems, losing your own identity, trying to please everyone around you. Have you ever felt like you don't fit into any group, but need to fit into all of them? Have you noticed that your opinions change according to the environment, to the point where sometimes you no longer know what's truly yours? The shadow of hazel eyes is dilution, the fear of displeasing, the difficulty of saying no to toxic relationships and environments. Stop now. Look inside. Which of these shadows pulses strongest in you? Being able to recognize it and accept it is a giant step to breaking patterns, healing old wounds, and reconnecting with the truest essence of your gaze. Because there is no mission without challenge, and facing your shadow is what makes your light even more powerful. Now tell me, do you recognize your shadow? Is any of these challenges part of your life? Write it here in the comments. Share your story. Remember, when you name the pain, it loses strength. And when you connect with others who share the same challenge, a collective healing force emerges. At this point in our journey, you've already realized, your eyes don't just tell your story. They are portals to an invisible web of people, feelings, and experiences that span centuries and continents. You are part of an ancient tribe, a community of seekers, of people who feel there is something greater, who are not content with shallow answers. That's why I want to invite you to be part of this movement. If any of the stories, archetypes, or challenges described here resonated with you, share your experience in the comments. What color are your eyes? Which country, city, or region are you watching from? Tell us about a significant moment when your gaze made a difference. In someone's life, in an important choice, in a moment of overcoming or intuition. Leave your story. Say, for example, I have green eyes and discovered my gift for transforming environments when, or, I have brown eyes and used to bend over backwards for others, but now I've learned to take care of myself. More than a video, this space is an invitation to build a network of self-knowledge and real exchange. By sharing your story, you become a mirror for others. You inspire, comfort, encourage. Your story might be exactly what someone needed to hear to take the next step. And if you want, tag that person who helps you see beyond, or who always believed in your potential. Let's form a chain of attentive gazes, of awakened souls. And if this content is making you reflect on yourself like never before, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit the bell. That way, you'll be the first to receive the next profound reflections and stories we'll bring here. Don't underestimate the power of a simple comment or sharing this video. Small actions create big movements. And perhaps today you are lighting the spark of transformation in someone's life. I want to see your voice in this tribe, your gaze intertwined with ours. We are many, but we are one field of experiences, and together we can go much further in the search for true meaning. We've reached the end of this journey, but honestly, I believe this is just the beginning of a much deeper trip within you. Because now, every time you look in the mirror, every time your eyes meet other eyes, you'll know there's more there than biology explains. There's a secret script, an archetypal mission, a calling that pulses deep in the soul. Your eyes are not a random detail. They are your compass, your inner GPS. They point to what your essence wishes to experience, overcome, heal, and deliver to the world. And now that you know this, the invitation is simple, yet transformative. Stop for a few minutes in the coming days, look at yourself truthfully. Ask, what mission does my gaze want to reveal? What patterns do I repeat? What gifts are waiting to be developed? Recall your best experiences, your biggest challenges. Observe if there's a subtle line connecting everything and how your eye color participates in these encounters, these missions. How about starting a small self-discovery practice today? How about challenging yourself to truly accept yourself, with gifts, lights, shadows, and all? And more, how about seeking out people who share the same archetype to exchange experiences, help, and receive help? Remember, self-knowledge isn't a goal to be reached, but an endless adventure, full of surprises, encounters, and lessons. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to get access to more stories like this. And before you leave this video, I ask from the bottom of my heart, share in the comments what your first step will be from now on. What do you choose to transform in your life? What commitment do you want to make to yourself? Write it down, even if it's just a word, a feeling. That's more powerful than you imagine. And if you want to continue delving into these themes, the mysteries of the unconscious, destiny, the soul's mission, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, share with whoever needs to hear this message, and keep an eye out for the next content. Here, each video will be a new portal for your transformation. Thank you for walking with us this far. Your gaze is unique, powerful, sacred. Trust it. It will show you the way. See you soon, and never stop seeing beyond what the eyes can see.